discuss something that was related to orchestrator basics. So orchestrator, what is basically orchestrator? What we can do with the orchestrator? That is what we're going to discuss. Yes, right. So before jumping into orchestrator, uh, so we have seen that we are actually trying to deal with three core components. Right, a studio is for development, the robot is for running a particular developed code and all. To just maintain the code and all, or is like to see what's the status of the code or monitoring the code and all the things happens in the orchestrator. So that is a basic functionality which we can say at a very high level. What we can do with the orchestrator, it's nothing but a monitoring or a scheduling part where you can just do after doing development with your bots, right? So let's see what are the functionalities we have here in the orchestrator, and today we will just showcase a bit of those things, because again orchestrator is also a vast thing which cannot be covered in a hour or so. So we will touch base some important concepts like how you can publish your particular code from your studio to orchestrator, how you can leverage assets, how you can just upload a item into the queue, and how you can get the transaction item and just print that particular things, right? So these were the things we would like to cover in the present day session. So let's see how we can just go ahead with those, right? So these were the things we would like to cover in the present session. So we'll describe the orchestrator, publish the project to the orchestrator. So explain the core functionalities of the orchestrator. Right. So coming to the introduction about orchestrator, it's used to manage the creation, monitoring and deployment of resources in an environment. It was a web application. Basically, earlier it was on-prem desktop-based application too. When we were talking something about 2014, 2015 versions, or like 2017 or 2018 versions too, right? But after that, it was migrated to cloud, and everything orchestrator can be seen through the cloud itself. So basic functionalities to control and monitor the productivity of robots, deploy the workflows to the robots, and manage the robots by scheduling them at any time. So this I can say is the core functionality of utilizing orchestrator. So coming to the capabilities, we can say we can provision the things, do the deployments, have the configurations, utilize the queue concepts, do the monitoring, have the logging mechanism, and also the interconnectivity between multiple applications. So that is what we can see here in terms of the orchestrator capabilities. So let's see how we can publish a project to the orchestrator, connect a robot to the orchestrator, and publish a project to the orchestrator. So for connecting a robot to the orchestrator, first of all, a robot needs to be connected to the orchestrator before the user can publish to the project. The procedure for connecting the robot is we need to open the UiPath assistant, sign into the UiPath assistant, and connect the robot to the orchestrator. So we would like to see these particular steps here. So how we can achieve the same. Right, let's open UiPath here. Let's see step by step how we can do that. So I would like to open UiPath Studio. And parallelly, I would like to open also the UiPath assistant. Right. So if you can see here at the top, it was already connected to the particular orchestrator. So by default, if you also open, it will be the same. So we can open the preferences and we can just click on the orchestrator settings. So we can just say that it was connected and licensed, right? So earlier it was a different scenario where you need to provide the keys as well as machine ID and all these things. But now it was simplified to just make sure that you are trying to provide the URLs of the cloud.uipath.com, and automatically it can just connect with the particular orchestrator in the assistant, right? So We are already connected here. By default, you can also see the same thing in your case also. Let me open a process. Test underscore, let's say publish. Let's create a small process to just to make sure that we are able to achieve this particular task. Right. So I'll just use a simple message box to just make sure that I was just trying to able to publish my code or not. So that was my basic test here. I'll select hyper automation underscore AI, right? So this is a simple message box. We have something here and we are just trying to publish that particular code into our particular orchestrator, right? So we have some question here. So how many way to connect robot? It's maximum like earlier we used to have multiple ways, but as of now we have directly when you try to provide your particular cloud audio path instance, you can directly connect with those things. So first of all, let me just open a orchestrator also. So let me try to launch the orchestrator and see whether I was on the same instance or not. So first of all, I would like to open cloud.uipath.com. So where we have seen it on the day one, like how to download UiPath Studio, right? So once we are in the cloud.uipath.com, here we have something on the left side to open the orchestrator. Right. So once I just clicked on the orchestra icon, it has redirected me to the particular orchestrator here, right? So here we can see the ID that I was utilizing is Conrad Kiran. It's the same thing I'm just trying to utilize in the assistant too. It's also the same ID, KK. Okay, fine. So here I was just there and let me open the UiPath here. And also you can see at the bottom what is the folders you are trying to utilize. So basically I'll be trying to go with the default folder. So we will try to see what is this tenant, what is this folder and all. Okay. So basically, so this is how your UiPath will be looking like, right? Orchestrator will be looking like. So what is the help of the tenant or what is the need of the tenant here? And what is the need of the folders here? So let's say when I was talking about the tenant, it's not a single organization will have a single verticals. So let's say I'm working on a company. So they will have different verticals or different departments inside the company. So which we can call it as finance, we can call it as accounting, we can call it as HR department, we can call it as development team and all these things, right? So each department might have multiple projects to deal inside the particular UiPath. Okay. So in that case, let's say that maybe like finance team is developing some 100 bots and accounting team is developing some 100 bots to maintain or do something on this 200 bots in a single instance of the tenant might be a bit difficult, right? So in order to achieve bigger transparency, what happened is we can create multiple tenants for the same orchestrator. So what is multiple tenants? Like you can have a particular instance, like how we are trying to see here, a separate instance for accounting team, a separate instance for development team, a separate instance for finance team, a separate instance for HR team, right? Under
I
this
have one
same,
question.
yes, please.
Sir, I'm trying to create another tenant in my cloud.uipad.com, but I can't able to create another tenant. Why, sir? You told we can create multiple tenants.
Once you open cloud.uipath.com, so this is your cloud page, right? You can also have at the
Yes,
bottom, you have something called orchestrator services. So you can just
default
click
tenant.
on that to where it will redirect to your particular orchestrator feed. So this is where you can just see where your orchestrator was there. Hmm. Is this something you're asking, Lavanya?
Sir, I can't able to create another tenant. We have only one tenant, default tenant.
Yes, we have default tenant only. We'll have only one tenant here.
You
So
told
we'll,
we can create multiple tenants, multiple instances. We can create. You told me now.
yeah,
Why we
we
can't
can,
able to create?
sorry, 1 minute, I'll
Why
connect
we can't?
through my earphones. Yeah, I'll connect. 1 minute. Yes. Hello.
We can't. Hello. We can't able to create
Yes.
another tenant.
We you are not able to create
Community
another
also.
tenant. Yeah. Sometimes since we are trying to utilize only the community versions, we might be not able to have the privilege of creating multiple tenants and all. But in the enterprise levels, we can create multiple tenants. Okay.
Interface means when we work on real-time projects. The same.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So see, this is we are trying to leverage a community version, right? So this is all utilized
Okay.
to have something where you can just learn how you can leverage the orchestrator services or how you can do the development and all. Right. So if you're trying to create multiple tenants, it is nothing but you're trying to create multiple um, what I can say environments for you. So which will be no use of making this particular versions like orchestrator and other things be purchased for the enterprise level usage. Right. So let's say that we'll take a small example. So why UiPath is restricting us not to create some extra sort of tenants or else like why we are not able to just run the unattended bots. So why it was restricted? Let's take a small example, which we already discussed earlier also. Right. So I'm having on a daily basis 500 applications to process. Okay. Nothing but the 500 transactions. So each will take 10 minutes. So we required around like 10 bots to handle this particular 500 transactions. Or else like two bots, let's say. Two bots to handle these 500 applications. Right. So now let's say that instead of 500 applications, I got out something called 5,000 applications. So we required something called 20 bots. If your path community version, okay, is supported with unattended licenses. Okay, or else like not the community version can only support running unattended bots, which is something related to backend, nothing but a background processes. Okay. So we cannot run the foreground process. We can run only attended bots here in the community version because multi-bot architecture, if we are able to achieve through community version, okay, there is no purpose of utilizing the enterprise version where we are trying to buy the license for maintaining, for running, for scheduling, for monitoring, or for maintaining the licensing. Right. So these cannot be achieved if we are trying to utilize the community version. It can be utilized only through the enterprise. Okay. What is ROI in here? But then now we have to calculate ROI. So ROI is basically what I can say is like uh, a return of investment. Let's say same thing we are discussing here, right? So earlier I've been utilizing 500 applications and it's been utilized with two bots. So ROI can be calculated in many ways. So we can say hard savings, soft savings. Okay. So hard savings are nothing but FT savings, direct FT savings. Okay, soft savings will come in terms of average handling time, leverage, okay, and many other factors too. So let's say if the saving is calculated with uh, persons doing
ROI
the things
means
manually.
sorry, Kiran, your voice is breaking. Your
Yes,
voice
please.
is
ROI
breaking.
means return on. ROI is basically means return on investment. Okay. Return on investment. Okay. So let's say that the same task is done by humans. So we already discussed, right? It is taking around like 10% to complete the same task. Okay. Each person is charged around like 10 lakhs per annum. Okay. So at 1 year, we are having one something like 1 crore investment if a client takes the same task manually. But since we are utilizing here only two bots, let's say that two bots is going to cost you only 20 lakhs for the licensing part. Okay. So we have here around like 80 lakhs of savings, right? So which we basically call here as hard savings here. Okay. So soft savings again, like here also it also includes the development costs because we need to develop the things. It also includes the infrastructure. Okay. So it's not directly 80 lakhs. It might decrease based on the development as well as the infrastructure costs. Okay. It purely depends how the ROI can be achieved and all, but at a very high level, we are just trying to speak in terms of hard savings and soft savings. But there are lots of calculations we try to do in terms of ROI. So where the business analyst as well as the project managers will be dealing with those things. Okay. Fine. Right. So now we are talking something about the multiple tenants which cannot be created because it's not supported basically. So licensing here, you can see we have unattended, but it will be executing only back office things. It's also provided here. Uh, and also we can do the testing here process, which can run simultaneously. So we have the testing license too, right? So this is something a license which will be allocated for the community license and all. But if you're trying to utilize the enterprise versions, you can connect a number of unattended licenses, attended licenses, testing licenses, non-production licenses, production licenses. There are lots of licenses being utilized inside the organizations, and it purely depends of which type of license you're trying to utilize. Okay, and it's not our headache
Okay.
as a developer. It will be purely being maintained inside by the production team. Okay. Alright. So let's see. We can just connect. We already connected through the orchestrator, and we are just trying to publish the code here. Right. So at the top, we can see we have the publish option. So I would like to try to click on the publish option here. So we have the publish options. We are trying to just go directly to the orchestrator personal field. We have different options of publishing a particular code. So let's say, what is the release notes? It's like a first version of code to publish in order to test, right? So that's our release comments, let's say. So I'd like to just publish these things. So we have the published version of 1.0.1 and name is like test underscore publish April, right? So let me jump into UiPath Orchestrator. Under my workspace, we have something called automations. Under the automations, we have something called my packages. Under the my packages, we can see that the recent process that's been published is test underscore publish underscore April, right? So we can see here what are the versions that was available here. We can see it's only one version, it's 1.01. And the log, it says like first version of code published in order to test, right? So we can now jump into here of UiPath Assistant, where we can see automatically our particular process will be seen here. Uh, test underscore April, right? So we have our process been also available here in this particular assistant, right? So we can just try to run the bot here. So let me try to run the bot here. For the first time, it will download all the packages, and we can see Hyperautomation-ai has been printed, right? So now what happens is there is a change in my particular code. So I would like to add Hyperautomation-ai. Your AI plus we can say UiPath. So this is my updated code, and I would like to just publish again. So here the latest current version is 1.0.1 and the latest one is 1.0.2. So we would like to say like second version, uh, update in message box. Okay. So I'd like to just hit on publish once again. So it's like 1.0.2. Let me just go back to the orchestrator once again and just refresh the things. So a new process got published here in a span of 8 seconds, and I can see the versions also. So we can see here 1.0.1, 1.0.2, and the active version is like 1.0. And we can see in the log, so we can see the comments related to the version why it got updated is also there, right? So since it was a small message box, we are just trying to utilize. We are just trying to say it's a message box being updated, but in real time you might be trying to change the logics and all, right? So in that case, it will be different scenario. We would like to see like what is the particular XAML you have updated. So why you have updated all these things should be there in the uh, comments of the particular version updated, right? So again, let's try to run in the UiPath assistants. We are not running back in the UiPath uh, studio. We are trying to run it in the assistant here, right? So let me try to run. See the upgrade of the a particular version happened. Yes, it has happened because hyperautomation underscore AI dot UiPath is being printed, right? So now let's say that sometimes you'll be not having a privilege to connect with the particular orchestrator, but you need to publish your particular code. So you need to send the particular code to the particular testing team and all, or else like to the administrator where they will try to upload the particular code into the orchestrator and all, right? So in that case, so we will also try to click on publish, and we have something called publish options, and we would like to hit something on the custom. So custom is something where you are trying to create a nugget package, and you are trying to store it on your particular desktop or any location you want to go. So we're just trying to publish the options, and the latest version here is 1.0.3, right? So it's 1.0.3. So how you can upload that to Orchestrator latest feed? So we would like to click on upload, and here we'll try to select the files. Okay, and the desktop I have a test underscore publish April package, and I would like to click on open here, and you can see here it's a 1.3 navigated package. Okay, and just try to click on upload. So here we can see in the last weekends the test underscore published on April has been updated. You can see the latest versions that it's been updated to 1.0.3, right? Yes, we'll get the recording. Right. So this is how you can just upload your particular package manually also through Orchestrator. Right. So we have seen different ways how you can publish your particular code into Orchestrator. One thing is through directly connecting through the particular Orchestrator, and you're trying to connect and you're trying to publish to the particular folders you want to go with. And second thing is manually you're trying to upload the named package and select the process which you want to go with. Right. So these are the different ways you can go with. So I have one question. Orchestrator is only allow 300 MB size to upload, or to uploads more than that. So basically, your files will be not of that particular size and all. Basically, if you can see the size, I'm just trying to utilize here. Is the size here. So you'll be having less versions of the code. Let's see what is the size here. It's of 24 KB files. It will be mostly KB files, or else like at most I've seen it's of one or two MB naked package files, but not of 300 MB files. It won't be possible in the uh, real situation. It won't be able to have that much size of file. Okay.
No, I already came across that situation where we have 300 MB plus file.
So in that option, you should be directly connecting to the published particular file, and you can upload those things. And second important thing, we have also earlier we used to have the bulk dependence of the particular files and all. So in order to avoid more space, what happened is it's coming with only default packages. So where you can install the packages as per your requirements, which means it will also help you to free some space for your file to be lighter and all. Okay, and also we have something called remove unused workflows, variables, arguments, dependencies, imports, or screenshots, which will help us also to make sure that if there is something that is not required in your particular process, and though you have created during development of your process, you can also delete all these unwanted things during your particular upload of your particular things into the orchestrator. So which can also help you to make your particular file much lighter. Okay. So these are the two best practices we'll try to follow. But if it is something you have a limit of 300 MB file to be uploaded, is you might uh, be not able to run the processes there. But I haven't like, came across such sort of things. But in order to make it lighter, you can follow this sort of best practices to where you can issue the things to. Okay. So, so can we upload cloud drives? Yes, we can do that. Let's see why how can we achieve that particular thing. Let's say you're asking like maybe some 500 300 MB limitation. Let's see if there is something we can achieve it. haven't came across that particular scenario. Let's try to search. So I have a limit. I have a 300 MB. Let's say the 400 MB file
My senior
to
suggested one.
upload.
My senior suggested one more
Mhm.
method to upload. It worked actually. He said,
So what is
uh,
the method?
take out the data files and place it in folder, like take out the data files and upload it. And after uploading
Mhm.
the package, go to the production machine and place their data files in that folder. And it worked.
Mhm. See, it's again like, see, the major purpose of utilizing these data files, if you're running only on a single machine, whatever the approach you said, it's going to work out, right? But if it is something you are trying to run it on multiple bots, the same
Hmm.
bot you are trying to run it on multiple machines, the approach
Yes.
will not work, right?
Hmm.
So it's like a primary solution you can go with, but that's not the final thing. Instead of placing those files in the particular, what I can say, uh, like copying there and all, you can keep it in data services. You have something called data services, right? Storage buckets. So you can keep the files here and you can make the files much more accessible for us, right? So
Means
you can also,
if we keep in this data storage bucket, how we will like updation goes on, like everyday updation. If I want to update something in the file every day, will it update?
yeah, we can also update something in the storage bucket. Storage buckets helps us something, or the data services helps us in something similar to a database and all. So we can also achieve the same thing.
Okay.
So it's like a common files you are having, and you want to create something here. You can do that here. So
Any type
storage
of files you
buckets.
can upload.
Sorry, any type of files you can.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Let's jump into a particular concept. Right. So we have seen how we can upload in a different ways and all. Right. Fine. Now let's see how we can utilize something related to assets and all these things. Or it's like uploading items into the queue or getting items from the queue and all. So let me just open the orchestrator field. So we have something called assets here. Assets are basically utilized when you are trying to utilize something like a shared paths, or it's like URLs, or else you are trying to store some credentials. So in that case, you can just try to create the what I can say, assets and all. So I would like to delete the earlier created assets. I would like to create an asset, create a new asset. So I'm trying to create an asset called hyperautomation. So what is the test value? Here you can have four types of assets being created. So text, boolean, integer, and credential. So asset value is let's say UiPath. Okay, and I'm just trying to create it. And also I'm trying to create assets of different type again too. So let's say like hyper automation underscore credential. So great. So I'm trying to utilize the credential part here. So what's the username? So the username is test, and what is the password? So let's say like 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay. So let's say I am trying to create that, and though you create something, and if you're trying to open that, so edit, which will not, you will be not able to see the passwords too. Though it was unmasked, you cannot see those things. It's only one time you can see, but after that you cannot see. You can only update the values, and you can just do the things, right? It's in such secured way. See, all these privileges will not be there for a developer for sure, like creating the assets, having some access to the particular folders. Um, See, why we will not have the access as a developer? Whatever that is required for the developer, only we will be having the access, right? If you are having all this access, if there is something wrong, you have configured and all, which might lead in a business breakdown, right? So that's the reason why there will be a separate administrator team which will try to maintain a particular bots, right? So you will be leveraging only these particular names of the particular assets you have created by the admin team and all. They, let's say that you are trying to access some URL, or else like you want to access something in terms of credentials and all. So you'll have the downgraded versions of the particular orchestrator also. You have multiple tenants also, right? So let's say that you will have something called dev, you have something called test, you will have something called UAT, and you will have something called prod. So your particular environments also will be segregated. You might be having a privileges in the dev, but not in the test UAT or production too, right? So you are restricted not to have privileges of all the things related to particular orchestrator. It will be restricted to make sure that the business is not having a breakdown due to unauthorized persons accessing these particular folders or orchestrator URLs or something which is more secure, okay, or confidential. Right. So now let's say that we have created some assets, hyper automation, which is normal one, and hyper automation create, which is a credential type. So let's try to access those things too from the UiPath. Let's say we will try to use something called get asset. So I'm trying to get it from the space itself. And what is the set time I'm trying to go with? It's hyper automation. So it will be stored in a variable. So control case underscore set. So let me just use a message box. We're just trying to print the asset here, str asset. So let me just try to save the file and try to run the file. So we have written something called UiPath for the asset name, which was able to be printed. So let's say I'm trying to create something called or hyperautomation credit, right? It's a credential type asset. So in that case, it works with not the get asset. We should be utilizing something called a get credential. Okay. So what is the get credential we have here? It's on the workspace itself. And what is the credential you're trying to achieve? So it is basically hyperautomation credential, hyperautomation credit. Okay. So where you are trying to go with. So let me just go to the properties here, and I'm trying to get the username in
I have
variable
one
control K.
question.
Yes, please.
For
Username.
example, if you do email automation, email password is a is we can store it in a asset, right?
Yeah, we can store it in the set.
Yeah, we have to create an asset in orchestrator again, or it will take a variable from the
It won't
from
say
system.
whatever you're trying to create, you need to leverage those things in the studio. So if you are trying to create some asset here, you need to call that particular asset inside your particular program. Until unless you call the particular passwords, you won't be able to utilize those. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So let me just utilize that. See, here, let's say that I'm utilizing the credential, right? So we can assume that as like username and password. We can leverage the same thing. So if you can see here under the variables, the password type is a secure string. The secure string, you cannot print those things. So in order to achieve that, we will try to convert the secure string into normal password. I'm like normal string. So how can you do that? So you need to write some method. So I'll utilize autopilot here. Convert secure string password variable to string type. Right. So this is how we can convert basically to make sure that I'm trying to print the values, but it's not advised to convert. So I want to get the password first, and also I want to get the username, right? str and or user. So I'm trying to retrieve the username and the password basically. So this is for the asset first thing, and this is for 1 2 3 4 5 6 is the password, and the test is user, right? So this is how you can just leverage something in terms of what you can say assets, getting the assets or getting the credentials and all. So let's see how we can upload something in the queue. So what is the purpose of utilizing the queue? So queues are utilized when you want to basically run something that was related to multi-board architecture. You can also run it on single board. That's also fine. And it also helps us in understanding the status of the particular items or the transactions based on the different states of the particular queue. Right? It's all again a big story we need to learn. But at a high level, I'll try to show you how we can upload some items to the queue and get some items from the queue. So those are the basic concepts we would like to see. How to run the bot from orchestrator on a specific process. See, in that case, you need to add something called triggers, automations. You can have something called triggers. So you already have the process, right? Let's say I have something called process which been recently uploaded. What's the name? It's test underscore publish underscore April, right? So once you create the package automatically, you'll also create the processes too, right? So in order to make sure that you are trying to run the particular process from the orchestrator, you need to add the triggers. So again, triggers are classified as time, queue, event, as well as API. So what is this trigger? So let's say that you want to schedule a bot at a daily basis only at morning 9 a.m. or at like 9 p.m. in the evening, or else like on a bi-weekly basis. So let's say that I would like to add some trigger, but it's not possible to run because we have a restriction. um, so let's say that I would like to select the process. So what's the process here? It's test underscore publish. Okay, April, right? So here you can see execute the process unattended, but it will say, hey, it's though you're utilizing the unattended license, it can run only a background process. Okay, so here I'm trying to utilize UCT timings. So our time zone is basically 5:30 something. Uh, 5:30 or 2:30. Yeah. So plus 5:30. So frequency, it's on a daily basis you want to run. At what time you want to run, let's say uh, like 9 o'clock in the morning, right? So I would like to click on add. It will say that trigger won't be created unless unattended runtimes are added to the machines, right? We don't have the unattended licenses, but this is how we can just create a process to run it on the particular triggers. Right. So again, you can trigger the bot based on a particular time. You can trigger a bot based on a particular queue. Like let's say that you are uploading something like 10 items into the queue. Like once like some items are there in the queue. Let's say that 5 items are there in the queue. You can trigger the bot automatically. So like let's say that email came into picture, or else like there is a file that's been created in a particular folder. So you can also trigger the bot, or else you can also trigger a bot through the API, which has been newly added, where you can also trigger the bot here using the APIs. So all these things again in a big story we need to understand, which cannot be covered in a small time zone, right? Let's see how we can upload the things into the. So let's say I'll try to take a new sense. I'll try to take something called test underscore queues. Okay. I would like to read the data. First of all, I'll try to create a queue here. So under the queues, I'll try to create a new queue. So let's say create a new queue. So test underscore publish underscore queue is the new queue I'm trying to utilize. I'll just try to create. Yeah, we have been created the new queue. So let's say that I will try to create a separate file to just upload that to be considered as a queue items. So when you're trying to create a queue, it will be in the form of what I can say a key value pair. So I will try to add some new data here. Let's say Sudhi from Chennai, uh, Lakshman from XYZ, right? The from Bangalore. So these are the data I just want to upload into the particular queue. So we can also utilize a bulk upload queue, or else like you can loop it and upload. So now I will try to read it from the text on like Excel file. So we would like to utilize the range workbook to just upload the items to the queue. So I have the data into the desktop. So I have something called sheet one, and I have something called data table stored data control K. DT1 is my data. DT1 is the data which I've been storing, and I'll try to utilize bulk upload keys. Bulk add queue items, right? So I'm trying to upload it through the bulk way. So here I'm trying to say that it's on the workspace. What's the queue name you want to upload? I want to upload in test publish underscore queue. What is the data you want to upload? It's basically on the DT1 I want to upload. Right. Right. So we are trying to upload the data. So let's see and try to run the file. And if I open the orchestrator, I have something called test publish, where I won't have any transactions. You have zero transactions here, right? So let me open the transactions here. So it's been uploaded, right? So let me open the transactions. And you can see here the data, like those of data, right? So let me open one set of data and see the details. So I can see it's Pradeep and Bangalore is the location which I've been trying to upload, or else like you can see data related to Lakshman and Hyderabad. So we can say this has something called key and this a value. It's basically key value pair here. Okay. So how to extract the data? So we can utilize something called get transaction data. So get transaction item basically to get the item. So get transaction item. So which orchestrator feed, what's the queue name? It's publish new, sorry, publish queue. So I'm trying to create after extracting the data, you are trying to get it from, let's say, basically transaction item. So transaction underscore items, right? So I would like to utilize that thing in the message box. And we would like to see what is the data we are trying to extract here. So transaction items dot specific content is a method to get the data, and we need to provide the key name. The key name basically here is name dot to string. Okay, so this is how you can get the data. So here, once I get it, you will be getting only one item, but you can also loop. So can we add database results to the queue? So yes, since after extracting the data from the database, your data is stored in a data table, right? From data table, you can pass that as an item to this particular value and you can utilize. Right. So we have extracted one single value, you can also loop it. But I'm just trying to show you how we can get basically the data from the particular queue and just upload it that into the things. Right. Fine. So this is how you can upload the data using bulk add queue items. Right. And also you can utilize get transaction item to get the items, and you will utilize a specific content method to get the key name passed, and you can get the corresponding values. Right. So we have seen how to just publish the code, how to get utilize assets, how to see something in terms of uploading items to the queue and get the items. So this is something on the basic part we want to showcase on this particular day. But again, there is a vast thing we need to learn something about Orchestrator. But as a starter, this is something which will help you to do something on the Orchestrator part. Okay. Any as of now, please to let us know, or else like we'll just wind up as of today. How to rerun the failed process on attended parts of the orchestrator. So we have something called retry mechanism, right? If there is something that's been failed when you're trying to create the queue itself, it will ask you. Let's say I've been utilizing the queues here, right? So let's say that I'm trying to create. When you're creating only, you can create it mechanism. So we have something called auto retry. So how many retries you can go with? So maximum retries is 50, but ideally you will try to go with three. Right? SAT transaction item is used to just add a single transaction item. So let's say that when you try to add the items to the queue, add queue items. So let's leave the page. So what is the status here? Let's say. So view transactions. So the state of the particular item will be new when you add, but when you add it using add transaction item, the status will be in progress. So that was the difference between add queue items and add transaction item.
Question. You kept max number of retails is equal to 3 at the time of adding queue. Right.
Yes.
Means that it will retry. You will wait for 3 times. What is the mean?
So retry mechanism is something, let's say, where you'll able to understand when we are trying to do something, what I can say, utilizing the alpha. Let's say, I'd like to just give you a heads up of what is this retry mechanism. No. So I'd like to just create a RE framework. Now also let's take the example here. Okay. So let's say we have total 10 transaction items to be processed. And let's say we have 3 bots utilized to handle this 10 transactions. So one bot, second bot, third bot. So what happens is the first bot robot will take the first transaction. Second robot will take the second transaction. And the third robot will take the third transaction. Right. So let's say due to some system error or system or application exception, something wrong happened here in the third bot for the third transaction. Okay, so we have enabled something like a reader mechanism implemented two times. So what happens is, so it goes to the a particular reader mechanism part where it will try to process again the same transaction in the same machine for one more time. Okay, so if it is
Okay.
success, it will not try to execute it again. But if it is again a failure, so what it will try to is the same transaction is again processed for the second time in the same machine. Okay, so if it is again a failure, it will mark the particular transaction then as failed. Until then, it will not mark that particular item as failed. It will mark something as application or system exception. Right.
Okay.
So we have something the statuses of the queue, which can be marked as success, fail, system exception, business exception, or listed abandoned, and all these things, right? So based on the statuses, we will come to know out of 10 transactions, how many transactions got failed, how many got success. If it is failed, what is the reason for the failure? Either it's routed through a business or the system exceptions. Okay. So that mechanism
Okay.
here is built here in the RE framework. In the process transaction, it will try to basically go with the processing of your particular flows. But if there is something wrong happened, we will have something called handling the exceptions, and you will have the invoke set transaction status. And here is a place where you will try to set the transaction status basically. Either it is success or as it's a business exception or a system exception. Okay.
Okay.
Every system exception, again, you will have a retry mechanism being utilized. Uh, you can see here Q retry, right? So that retry variable is utilized from here, and you will have the retry mechanism being utilized here. The retry current transaction, you will have again retried for the same transaction. See here, it's all pre-built here. You are trying to leverage the same mechanism by passing the required path here. So return transaction is maximum return is reached. If not, all this thing happens here. So it's all again the mechanism which we are utilizing with the pre-built RE framework, which we will try to showcase something on the tomorrow session. Okay. How to add Q items into CSV format. See, CSV or Excel file, you read the data, it's in DT1, like data table format. It's like you can directly upload the Q items into the uh, from the CSV by utilizing, I think we have a latest feature here. So we have something called upload items. And here we can try to select the CSV file, and from this particular CSV file, we can directly upload the file, Q items here. But it should be of same schema. I'm like, what are the names you have given earlier? It should be of same, like same key value pairs. You can also upload items into the orchestrator queue by selecting a CSV file. So
Hi, I have one doubt regarding the real-time scenario. Like we have
mhm,
one process which is running on multiple and 3 to 4 unattended bots, and
okay.
that process takes the data from the queue and it processes in all the 3 to 4 unattended bots. But due to some captcha related error, the process gets failed in unattended bots. So every
Mhm.
time we have to go and manually run it. Do we have any process which monitor and restart those unattended bots whenever it get failed?
See, that is what we try to do in the exception handling. If you haven't dealt something in exception handling in a proper way, we will be not able to automatically close your application, restart your particular processing. So,
Mhm.
and also again, again, is it something getting failed in your init process? So in the RE framework, we have something called init initialization of your particular applications, where you will try to launch the applications and leverage the same thing in the process transaction, right? If there is getting something failed in init process, have you built some mechanism to retry that in the init phase? If it is not, you need to implement that particular retry mechanism in the init phase. So you're not actually trying to have a retry mechanism for your transactions. Here you're trying to do some retry mechanism for your capture related things, right? And
Yes,
capture
yes.
related, so you need to keep that init phase inside your process transaction phase, basically. So launching your applications, ideally you will try to uh, do it in init applications, nothing but at the init phase only you will try to launch. But here in your case, you need to launch it every time for your transaction to make sure that it's up and running. So that
Yeah,
is how
after
you can
running five
handle
to six
those things.
transactions, I mean, CAPTCHA is coming, then the process is getting failed. So that is the reason we are
Yes,
giving some time, wait time, and again we are restarting it. But is there any
yes,
way where we can
it's
do that automatically? Yeah, got it.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. You need to instead of keeping that init application in the init phase, you need to launch the application here in the particular what I can say the process transaction phase. Or else
Okay,
you can say that if there is a capture coming into picture, consider that as using a global exception handler, consider that as exception, close it and try to relaunch it again.
okay, thank you.
Is there any plan for advanced training? Yes, we are planning for advanced training, but it also again comes with lots of tools which we are actually trying to plan. It is under process, and we are trying to have these things implemented as part of the advanced training, which will be covering UiPath Studio, Test Manager, Document Understanding, AI Center, Action Center, and the Orchestrator too. So which comes up with three end-to-end real-time projects. And these were the topics we are covering as part of the particular real-time project training, which we are also working on the things. Right. Because it's not we need to provide you the environment and all. So we are just working on the environment. Uh, so we are trying to work on server related stuff and all, which is also new for us because in organizations people provide you all the environments and all, but this is something we are trying to go with. So pay structure we are not at finalized. We are still working on the things, but we'll try to make it affordable. See, not to just bring out these things and all. So the same content we are trying to deliver in the market, they'll try to definitely charge you, uh, saying like maybe like 10,000 as basic course or like 15,000 as the basic course and all. And also people come up with stating they'll try to showcase their face in the demo sessions, but the sessions are taken care by some other people, which is not even more advanced. They're just going with the training people and all. But here we will try to provide the sessions only through the competent people what we have earlier specified and all. Yeah. So we are trying to bring some nets for the beneficial of the candidates too. So that's the reason why we are going with the free yoga training to make sure that at least you will be very much strong on the basic part for the initial 15 or 16 days. It's not a force. We are not forcing anybody to take the particular advanced training session. We also have the options to go learn it or try something from the basic what you have learned and all. Yeah, fees we will discuss. We are not at finalized. We will try to announce. So maybe by this month and we will try to announce this particular batch. But still, we promise to have this free training classes running on every month for the next 6 months. So we have run it on the previous month, on the present month, March and April. We will also run it another May month also. Any other doubts? Please do let us know, or else like we'll wind up the session as of today. Okay, then I think we are good. And last but not the least, please do make sure that you are trying to upload some task because we have having a challenge, right? Let me open the challenge topic part. Where I was there, which I'm ready. I think we have given a challenge one. So people are also uploading lots of things. So let's see how many people has uploaded till now. And still you have time till today to upload the task for the challenge one, right? So we can see around like 26 people has up or 27 people has uploaded their solution for the challenge one, and we can still have a chance to win the swags from the UiPath directly for $60 and $40. Five people having a chance to upload. Sorry, five people having a chance to win the prizes. Hope you're one of them. So today is the last date for what I can say, the first challenge, and still you have two challenges. Yeah. See, job support we won't provide. We will try to make sure that you are able to do your jobs with the skills what you have procured. So that is what we can guarantee you with the skills. So as developer sessions, the duration will be 45 days. 45 days. 45 days each, 50 days for each component. For core automation, you'll have 15 days. For test test automation, you'll have 15 days. And for the document understanding, center and action center, you'll have 15 days. So because we three MVPs, myself, Kiran, Athrudu, as well as Pradeep, so three people come from a three big different backgrounds or different product expertise. So I am from the core automation, Pathrudu is from the test suite, and Pradeep is from the document understanding action center and the AA center days. Okay. Something we would like to suggest any people is don't go with some backdoor jobs, or don't go with some job supports, or don't go with something that was providing you intermediate solutions and all. Say if there is something you are working only for 1 2 months, you can take job support. I'm not criticizing anyone here, because I've seen a lot of people who has come through this particular phase, and they have been struggling a lot with their mental peace and all. See, you try to, if you're not able to understand, we are there to help you out. Maybe it might take 1 month or 2 month. Um, so no calls from now. Yes, no, it's not something like that. I've seen a lot of people where we have been mentoring, is getting calls. Uh, to have some add-on edge, you have something a less notice period. You have something like a certifications. You have something a product expertise, not rather than something what I can say like only showcasing studio orchestrator robot as your product expertise. You need to have something add-on edge. So that is where you can get more calls. And also while to apply for a particular jobs and all, you should be trying to make sure that you are trying to write some other things to the recruiter based on the what I can say, the job description. So each requirement has a different job description here. So let's say ABC company is having a requirement, they'll have a different requirement. So they'll say that I want something on the test manager, I want something on the orchestrator or maintenance or support engineer. You need to modify your particular resume according to the job description. Okay. So if you are trying to utilize for all the roles the same profile, so again, so nowadays everybody's using AI services. So initial shortlisting also will not be happening. Based on the keywords, they'll try to shortlist. Right. Fine. Thanks. Thanks for your kind words, Barsha. Thank you. Have a great day. We'll meet again tomorrow.
Right. Thank you.